Did you know that confidence is one of the most important traits when you're in sales? This is talked about so little, but it is so important. Why? Because at the end of the day, that is what prospects buy. They buy confidence. Who doesn't love a salesperson that's confident in who they are and the product or service they sell? That is what we gravitate towards. That is who we want to do business with. So I want you to be as confident as possible when you're selling, when you're following up. Follow up is a huge part of sales. It's the number one way to bring in more sales, is to follow up on the leads that you've already made. So because confidence is crucial, whether it's in lead generation or following up, I'm going to give you 5 tips that I know will help elevate your confidence. Tip number 1 is believe you will get the business. When you're generating leads, walk into a networking event confident. You will show up different. You will stand taller because you know the leads you're going to get are going to result in closed business. You just show up differently. Even if you're doing cold calling, you will sit taller when you're making that cold call because you know those efforts are going to lead into closed business. So it shifts from shrinking or showing up small to standing tall and being confident because you know the efforts you're making is going to result in more business because that is your belief. Tip number 2, be curious. Now, I know you know what curious means, but I'm going to give you the formal definition. An eagerness to know something. So what typically happens is when somebody has to follow up, they are, oh my gosh, I don't know, will they take my call? Will they respond to my email or text or direct message? Did they make their decision? Did they go with someone else? Did I make the presentation in the best way possible? And on and on and on, these thoughts go. Kick all of that to the curb, and how you're going to approach it instead is I'm really curious to see if they're going to answer my call. I'm really curious to see if they're going to respond to my email, text, or direct message. I am so curious to see if they've made their decision yet. I can't wait to find out if I'm the one they chose. Again, it puts a different spin on it in a very positive way. So always be curious and never go down the path of I wonder, did I hope. Forget about all that. You are just simply curious. Tip number 3 is always operate from logic when you're trying to bring in sales. You don't want to get emotional. Emotions can really mess us up in business. Now, you may have heard that when emotions go high, intelligence goes low. So if you get too emotional about having to follow up to see what the decision is, there's a high likelihood you won't follow up at all. And that's where the intelligence goes down. So when you're operating from emotion, typically what's under that emotion is fear. Fear of not getting the business, fear of rejection, fear of being pushy if I have to follow up again, fear of not knowing what to say because this is the 4th time you have followed up, fear of not knowing the outcome. I don't want to follow up because I don't know what they're going to say. No, and then that creates the emotion. Forget about all of that. Come from logic. Logic is your job is to bring in sales. Therefore, you will follow up. Period. End of story. That's it. So it pushes all those emotions aside. It doesn't mean you don't have the emotions. They just cannot be in the driver's seat. Okay, and there's a time to be emotional, but not when you're dealing with business and are trying to increase your sales. There really is no room for emotion. You can be happy, of course, when you close the sale, but when you're in the midst of converting that prospect to a client, you got to stay with logic. Tip number 4 is be knowledgeable in the product or service you sell. If you're not knowledgeable, it will just naturally cause you to shrink. And your confidence is going to wane big time because you're not really sure about what you're selling. You're not that knowledgeable about the product or service. And I work with people who are new in their new with the company they just joined, or they're new in the industry, and that's okay. Everybody's new at some point, but just hunker down, nose to the grindstone, research, read, gain everything you can about the product or service that you are selling. And it is okay not to know everything. So if you're talking to a prospect and they ask you a question that you can't answer, you just say, you know what, I don't have that answer for you now, but I will get back to you this afternoon, or I will get back to you in the morning. And then make sure you get back to them when you say you're going to. Because when you do that, it is all good. You don't have to know every little thing about your product or service, but you do have to have a good general knowledge base with what you're selling. And then tip number 5 is believe in yourself. Believe that you are capable of making the sale. Believe you are capable of not just meeting your sales goals, but exceeding them. Believe that you deserve to hit and exceed your sales goals. You have earned it. You've done the work. You've put the time in. Now, you have to make sure you've done the work. You've put the time in, that you are knowledgeable. And once you do that, you are absolutely going to believe in yourself. Now, believing in yourself doesn't mean you're going to get every piece of business. You're going to convert every single prospect to a client. It just doesn't happen that way. But when you're confident and believe in yourself, you know if you lose a prospect, that's just part of the sales process. It's just the name of the game. You don't get every single prospect converted to a client. So when you are, when you believe you're going to get the business, when you are curious, when you are logical, when you are knowledgeable about your product or service, and when you believe in yourself, guaranteed high level of confidence. And high level of confidence is going to bring you more business. All right, so there it is. Those are your 5 tips. Get them implemented. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.